another Tea Talks. I am here once again to have some really in-depth and important conversations when we talk about part 2 of the Black male perspective. So my name is Jes'ka Washington. I am your host, and I am joined today with 2 more lovely, I'm going to say it right now in your face, lovely, powerful, empowered Black men who actually are staying here in the UAE. First we have
Quinn from Jackson, Mississippi.
And
Ennis Johnson from Memphis, Tennessee, who's currently teaching in Texas before I came here.
So one thing I do want to kind of point out before we even dive into this conversation is that I'm talking to 2 Southern gentlemen. So before we even talk, and I will say this before we talk about just the Black male perspective, what does that mean for you to be Southern?
That's a good question. I think from my perspective, it comes with, we have this term like Southern gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
There's that ruggedness, but it's also that, I guess debonair type of, there's a certain quality, well, from my experience, that's different from Northern men, where we learn how to treat women. Now, is it always good? Is it always good? No. But it does come with a certain swagger. Okay. And it also, well, at least from my experience, we're taught different morals, like being able to provide for your family. That's what a man is. Or, engaging with your children, and of course, loving the Lord, going to church, and all this other stuff. I think religion is definitely a big part of the Black experience in the South, especially in places.
I was going to say, how many been to that Baptist Convention Church Union?
That was my life. That was my life.
Wednesday night. Okay.
You talking about church on every corner?
Yeah.
I would say well-rounded. Like, cook, do it all. Do whatever you need to do, and that's kind of taught from, I don't know if it's from moms or grandmas or whatever it is, but it's just, I think it's about just raising this well-rounded person. Not saying that nobody else is, but that's everybody I know from the South can do pretty much whatever they need to do in the house without,
So I'm going to take that part of the question and then go to race. Okay. And is race relations different in the North and South, East and West?
For me, yeah. And that's why I appreciate being from the South. Where I'm from, it's very normal for it. If I don't like you because of your certain race, at least I know. They will tell you. There is no subtle, it's literally in your face. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that type of honesty. Let me know. Just like this whole Confederate flag in my state that's happening right now. Put it in your yard so I will know. That lets me know, where you are. But up north, is from my experience of going to grad school up north, it's pretty subtle and it's a bit annoying at times. When just say you don't want me to sit here, or just or just I know you want to ask me why can I afford this, or what kind of work do I do, like. It's just, it's so annoying. I'm used to that blatant, like, I don't like you because you Black. Okay, cool.
What about your experience?
All I remember as growing up and dealing with race was, for the most part, I was around a lot of Black people.
Okay, so, Memphis.
Yeah. So I was around a lot of Black people, but when there were white people around, I would say it's pretty clear, if there was something going on, but you're kind of raised in this atmosphere to, just to be very careful when it came to it. Like you always, I was raised to not look at the bad in people, so I would always kind of question myself, was that racist? No, it couldn't have been, because, why would it be? So, but it was all around. From driving your car and you see a police car and the sheer fright that came over you, like, okay, all right, here we go. And I've never really been north too much, so I don't know what it's like too much there, but it just seems like people don't really pay as much attention to you. So in my experience, when I have gone, it's like, oh, you see black or any color, and people just walk right by you. It's not a big deal.
So when we talk about things not being a big deal, I'm going to ask you, did you learn how to code switch, or did it just come naturally? And for those who don't know what code switching is, can you break that down, or I can break it down where?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Code switching.
Yeah, and that was kind of one of those things that's taught, that, you know, you got to kind of, you know, be a little bit more proper. You know, you got to, you know, you maybe you should, you know, maybe I need to put on a little tie or dress, be a little extra. So I've raised to always, you know, think about my looks and make sure when I walk in the house my hair is brushed and always look like, you know, I'm about to do something important. So I'll go places, I have on a suit jacket just to throw it on, and maybe that was my style, but at the same time it was one of the things so I can look softer. Or so I wouldn't look as intimidating, or the way I talk, I'll try to talk a little bit more proper. So it was kind of that thing where you have to learn, let me talk this way if I'm in around these certain people, and then I can talk, I can be regular when I'm with my people.
Yeah, so I didn't know there was such a thing as scary black people. I grew up around preachers, professors, nurses. They're all black, educated people. And of course, as I grew older, some white kid just all of a sudden let me know that I'm the scary black dude.
Okay, I need to stop this for a moment. You are the scary black dude?
Yeah. Okay. Kid moved out of my neighborhood. Well, it was a girl originally. So if we have time for this story. So I used to play with this girl in the neighborhood, mixed neighborhood. And we would play house, whatever. She had the little, you know, the little plastic houses we used to have back in the day in the backyard. And of course, she would always select me to be the husband.
Okay.
You know, so
I, as a woman, am already side-eyeing part of this conversation. But go ahead.
So I'm like, cool, you know, I'm 8, 9. So she was like, you know, now we have to kiss, and her mother saw it. I mean, I wasn't paying attention. She kissed me, and of course the white kid, my friend Adam, got jealous, got upset, ran to his mom and told his mom. And so the very next day, we went across the street, and you know, I'm sitting knocking on the door like, you know, can Christy come out to play? And Dad comes and says like, you know, Christy's not here. But I'm sitting here looking at the door. The room is like right here where the door is. Adam and Christy in the room literally playing. So like, I'm sitting like, I'm 9 and 10, so I don't really know what's going on. So I went in to explain to my mom. And my mom is just, she's a nice lady, but she don't play them games. So of course she had to go over there and fix the situation, and then she had to explain to me, you know, once you start becoming 10, 11, 12, you're not a cute little boy anymore. Okay. You know, like that smile, it can only get you so far, because now, you know, people don't see you as that cute kid anymore. Now you're a black boy, and now people are going to have different interpretations or different ideas of you.
So I want to change the tide just a little bit, because being 10, and I think that's one thing that really happens with our black males. At what point in time do you not get to enjoy your youth, and you have to change your psyche and think in such a, how do I mute myself in order for you to accept me? Do you lose out on parts of your childhood? I know, wow, deep.
So, I mean, with, I guess when I was growing up, I never remember not, you know, being able to be a child. I don't remember that. A lot of things that probably would happen, it wasn't televised during that time. So, as you see, you know, a lot of things that's happening today, but it wasn't televised, so you didn't see it, but you just knew to always be aware, and you knew that, you know, if you were in certain situations around certain people, you need to, you know, be mindful and mind your appearance and mind those things, you know, mind the things that you're doing to stay alive, or to, you know, not be in a contradiction situation. So yeah, for me, it wasn't, I never felt the time where I couldn't be a child, unless police were around or something like that. Then that's when, you know, you want to straighten up a little bit, act more mature or things of that nature. So, yeah, that's it for me.
I think, well, I didn't see it until I got older, just a black mother's protection, or the rules that she put in place that are specific for black boys. For example, like something that's, I guess, universally black in America, the street light.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was just a rule. It's getting dark. You know, so that was a rule. Don't let the street light beat you. You know, so it became a symbol of protection. And later, as I got older, my mom had explained to me, you know, about sundown towns and things like that.
Sundown towns.
You know, and then of course most of my friends were black boys, and then there's this whole group thing. Like, not only just I'm one black boy, but a group of young black boys that can, you know, give off wrong signals when we like to go to the store down the street, you know, but one day somebody might find this group offensive or up to no good, and she just didn't want those type of things. And a lot of times certain kids in the neighborhood she just would not let me play with. And, you know, I'm grateful for that, but, you know, it made me realize that I do need to choose my friends wisely, because she saw the dynamics of that household in terms of parenting and all that stuff, and she was just like, you're gonna hate me, don't care, but you can't go. And lo and behold, a lot of those kids that have run-ins with the law and shot people and all this other stuff, and now me older, I'm like, I couldn't stand you back then, but now I appreciate it, you know? So yeah.
Well, I think one thing that you're slowly tapping on is the idea of we can't make mistakes. Because making a mistake or having a moment, and one of those things you can see, you can watch, there's so many like movies about it where the black boy was in the room with the girl, he was just kissing, but then she came out and cried rape. Like, you can't make mistakes because there is a judicial system that is set up against you, and when it becomes your word against the judicial system, black people do not tend to win.
Yeah, that's I don't have anything else to say.
I mean, and again, that's just something that you're raised. Like my father, I didn't think about it back then. Like it just was the world. It's just how things were, and I didn't think about how dangerous it was. Danger didn't come to my mind. It was just, you know, I'm black and people don't like black people. So it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't think danger for some reason. But I did think that I have to make sure that I'm walking this straight and narrow path, or when I'm driving, I have to make sure I'm driving a certain way. Or if one of the big things I can always remember is like tail lights and headlights, and you can't drive that. And I would always think like, why is that such a big deal? Like, okay, my light is out, I didn't realize it, somebody, you know, the police can just let me know, and I can just buy a little light. But I didn't realize until it happened to me that when that's out, it gives a reason for me to be pulled over, and then it gives a reason for harassment or things of that nature that happen just because, oh, you're black. Oh, what do you have in your car? Or why are all of you guys, where are you going? Why are you just sitting here? And then that's when I was taught, you know, my dad's a minister, so I wasn't like just out on the streets just being wild too much as I was, you know, really young. And so, but yeah, you have to be perfect. Like, you have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, have your hands in a certain, you know, position, and you have to ask permission to do what they're telling you to do. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to walk, you have to be perfect when those situations occur.
I think when I first got my car, there was a conversation about driving, and then conversation about driving while black. And of course, you know, my father was a pastor, evangelist as well, goes to church. So there's a whole nother, it's always a lecture. But I had freedom, but I couldn't go to certain places. Like, I know I don't need to be in Madison County, you know, that's predominantly white, and they have a history of being prejudiced and racist and police and all this stuff like that. So like, once the movies in our city closed down, everyone has to go now to Madison County to the movies. So my dad, I mean, like, you can't go, dude. You know, you can't go. But my mom was trying to be a little bit more open and understanding, which I thought she would be the one, no, you can't go. And then of course, don't have anybody in your car. That was another issue. Like, you should be the only one driving, especially, I know you want to be with your homeboys and stuff like that, but 4 black boys in a car, you know, it's just stuff you just have to be considerate of. Like, we can't just go out. We want to go joyride and go to the reservoir and sit on the water and stuff like that. But just the fact that there's 4 young black boys in a car, the police can assume that we stolen it or we out smoking or something like that, when we're just kids coming from good families and living our lives. But then also the aspect I wanted to bring up was like just behavior. For example, like in the stores, like I'm sure other families had that mother that says when we go in,
don't touch
me,
nothing, don't.
Which, you know, you in the store, you seeing all this stuff, and then you go in the store and little Tommy is having a fit. Mom, I want this, give it to me, and your mom gives you that look like, I wish you would, you know. But I get it, I get it, but we just don't have that freedom to just have a tantrum. It sounds weird.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going with mama on this.
I know.
Of all the things you want to go and release your black boy freedom on, it is a tantrum in the middle of the store. It's the first thing on your I want to do this. But I'm just
saying, we don't have that right. But even as an adult, we have to hold in that rage. Like, it's a learned behavior. You get what I'm saying? Like,
all right, but I'm going to touch on that. So you say, because right now we've talked a lot about how you were raised. Now we're in the midst, and it's in beautiful 2020, and things are coming to a blow. And you said you've had to hold in that rage. Yeah. Where are you now? How do you feel now?
You go first.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I've been letting it out.
Okay.
Because one of the beautiful things I would say about this moment is that it has at least allowed us, to a certain extent, a safe place to just let it go now. It's like to just say what we feel about it. And it's so funny that all you keep hearing is, oh, I'm sick of this, and you know, oh, now they're coming for this, and now they're doing it, or they went too far. And it's so funny because it's like, do y'all understand that we've been saying these things for ages? We've been living it for ages, and we just couldn't say it because if we did,
you hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
We lose a job.
Yeah. We couldn't do it, and now it's come to a place to where we can let it out, like it's safe. And some of y'all here, some of y'all agree, some of y'all don't, you know. But you know what? I'm like, I just let it go. Like, when I see something I like, I'll post it. I don't care. Like, I just let it go. And we're getting a little bit more support than we've ever gotten before in saying these things. It's like, okay, it's okay, guys. Get it out. Hurry up, because we don't know how long this is.
Right. You're like, is this a phase? Is this a trend?
Yeah. As I grew older, I've never been that Martin Luther King type. You know, I never cared even before this happened. However, me being in the UAE, that initial reaction of once this stuff started happening, I got a little anxiety.
Okay.
Because I'm so used to being home and being active when that happens.
Okay.
You know, having those conversations and discussing it, especially, you know, to the young boys I mentor and things like that. And being in the room and like talking about policy and stuff like that. So it was an adjustment, like I can't be there.
Right.
And then in my mind, I'm just like, why do I want to go through that struggle when I came here to find some type of peace away from that? Does it make sense? Like, I can fight it a different way, but I'm so used to something being wrong and me having to fix it or trying to fix it.
Okay.
And when I moved here, I had to adjust and say, you know what, I can still do something like that here. So we were just talking about like using this moment in this filth, in this craziness to be creative. Just like I always say, you know, black struggle is when we all always create things. Whether it's jazz, blues, rock and roll, everything is created in our bad times.
Okay.
So like I've used that to, you know, create mental health platforms, because I knew, as we were just talking about technology, we're moving into a new phase with COVID and all this stuff like that. Children are gonna need somebody to talk to. You know, some of these children have questions about why is this happening. You know, and of course students here are asking, what is going on in your country? They want to know the Black experience.
Right.
And you know, and of course they're dealing with their own things. So like, I guess it became a sense of relief. I've turned, like I always said, I've turned that misery into a ministry, not only to help myself, but you know, to improve the lives of other people, and also be able to tell our stories, not just, you know, the people here seeing Black Americans on TV, because all they see is the entertainers and the sports, when there's more to us than that. You know, we're just not dancing and singing and turning up and stuff like that. We're in the policy rooms, we're engineers, you know, we teachers that actually know content. You know, so yeah, it's been actually liberating, and it's also liberating just to see like the unity amongst the community here in the UAE. Like, I don't see the people that I know, I don't see too many people not engaged in it in some type of way.
Okay.
You know, whether it's a post or like having videos, or you know, mixing music to, you know, like just like the fight the power thing. Like, everybody has their own way of protesting or showing that activism or showing that support, and I'm loving it.
Okay, wow. So when you talk about that, and I think we talked about two different things here. You talked about the fact that you can release, like we wear the mask that grins and lies, that hides our face and shades our eyes, and you're kind of like, hey, I'm about to take Phantom of the Opera right here.
Mask off.
I don't have to sit here, right?
Mask off.
And then you're bringing in the different point of taking, because you used to be able to just release and save everyone at home. And then you've taken that energy and brought it into a virtual world, and you really are talking about, you know, helping our kids and helping all of that. And so the thing that I say right now is our kids need it, and I think that our kids are hungry and they want it, but we're overseas.
Yeah.
What is the role then we have as Black Americans overseas?
I think it gives us a chance to tell our story, because now we're not just in our country. So now we have the ability to take an international approach to our story. It's just like American popular culture is Black culture. So now if we're in different parts of the world, we have the opportunity to tell our stories through our music, through our poetry, through rapping, however we can do it. Just like, for example, that protest alone, everybody pays attention to Black culture all over the world. Like P. Diddy said, we control what's hot, we control the language, we control what you dance to, all of that. So this is our opportunity to, for example, just like in Europe, they're throwing statues and stuff of, like, you know, people that a lot of Americans don't even know about.
We don't know about.
So that's a different type of struggle, and now we can look at Europe and be like, dang, like for real, like y'all got that going on, we don't even know about that. Then their protest like, hey, we want our the Caribbeans that are in Europe, we want our reparations too. Or like people in South Africa tearing down what's it called, roads, Cecil Rhodes. Everybody wants to be a Rhodes scholar. They don't even know where that comes from.
Right.
So now it's a lot of opportunities just for Black people, just in general, just to see the diversity within ourselves, and then actually talk to each other. And this is a global Black economic opportunity for us to be like, hey, this is what you're doing over here. I need to connect with you so we can build this, you know, global economy.
I think one of the great things about, and there's some bad things too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, you know, abandonment, like I've abandoned my people sometimes. But one of the great things is that we're not drowning.
No.
Like when you're in the States, it's like you're in water and you're trying to swim and you can't get to the top.
No.
Here we're in, dare I say, yachts and floats, chilling on top of the water, drinking. But then when we see our people, we feel like, you know what, let me jump back in this water and try to swim too. But we get to see those aspects of other countries, and we get to see it, and we get to live life out here to see all right, this is how bad it truly is. Like, it's bad there, but when you see how life is outside of here, I went out for a walk, a bike ride, at night the other day through my neighborhood. Never ever feared for my life.
No problem.
Nothing. Felt very good about it. I never feel any ways about doing that. And when I think about, and when I'm riding, I'm thinking about my people. Like, like, you can't do that.
No, you don't know the breath or the relaxation that comes from being able to just walk, or just being able to live, or just do. And something that happened very recently, and I had to let my new boss out here, is that I feel okay. It doesn't happen a lot, but like, I made a mistake, and all of a sudden my job wasn't on the line. It wasn't like one mistake. It's the whole definition of what you are, what you're carrying. And I do think that people will always turn around and try to tell you about your life or tell you about that thing, but I do think that a lot of reasons why some of us move not knowing is that we needed to be able to have that breath to be able to figure out who we really are, and not always dealing with Erica about the bag lady. When you go, like, you don't realize how many bags you're carrying until you get someplace where they can say, "Hey, sit it down for a second."
And even in education, you know, even being black or in education, to be able to see this other perspective of it, and that's when you really know. You know, when you're in it, when you're in the systematic racism, you don't always recognize it.
You don't recognize it,
right? So once you get out of it, you really recognize a lot of things that are happening, and you know it, but you don't really, you can't really like pay attention to. You can't really see it until you get out here and you see how things are ran. You're like, what was I doing before? What was happening before this?
And I'll say this while we're closing up, is like what you just pointed out about the systematic racism. There are some things that are being said or posted where I'm like, I have to catch myself, because I'm like, you ain't know that? Like, you just know, like, I lived through that, like, why you, what? You didn't, and it's just like, man, I didn't realize how much I was living in it to where I have to now sit here and say, okay, wait a minute, is it right, is it wrong? We can talk about the Aunt Jemima pancakes. Like, and not saying anything, you could, it was you that told me, I just knew Aunt Jemima was getting a cut of the Aunt Jemima pancake. Like, I just knew it was a black lady's recipe. And it wasn't until like all the stuff in the stories. And what I will say though is, being international, I think one of the things that I hope you see and I see as well is that we're able to see things at a different point of view. And one thing that I would say for people who are in America is, like, you can reach out to us, because some fights are not the big fight. And I know, for instance, when I saw the Congress with the kente cloth and people went off for 24 hours, it didn't faze me none. It did not faze me. If you go watch any African tourist channel, guess who's in there buying the African cloths? So that wasn't appropriation. That wasn't anything. I was worried about, did they sign the bill or not? That's it. We can't get caught up in the other messes. So unfortunately, this is like the end of our conversation. Just looking at things from a black male perspective. But I do kind of want to end with one little piece, if you can give me like 30 seconds, Ennis, is, now that you've seen this and go through, what is it that you wish for your future or your family?
I want my family and my kids to just be able to have access to the world, and not to fear for their lives because of their color, no matter where they are, especially home. You know, and I want them to be able to go home and not be fearful. So even now they want to go home and see their grandparents and stuff, and we're just like, it's not the time right now. And it's hard for them to understand that, because they just hear it about the COVID situation, but then there's also a lot of other stuff going on where it's not safe. And so I just want them to be able to live life and not worry about the color of people's skin, or like they have to act a certain way and have to be perfect. I don't want them to be perfect. I don't want them to have to be perfect. I want them to be able to accept their flaws. And so that's just something that I want for them to have, based on the world. And I just pray that they don't have to see much of this as they grow up.